Imagine yourself 5 years from now. Picture waking up in the morning, feeling strong, calm, and confident, with a clear sense of direction. You open your eyes and you know you're living the life you once only dreamed about. Now ask yourself, what if that future wasn't just a random accident? What if it wasn't about luck or chance, but something you could actually create, starting right now? Most people think success is far away, hidden in tomorrow. But the truth is, it begins with the thoughts and choices you make today. Every small decision, every habit, every repeated belief is like a brick in the house of your future. Are your thoughts guiding you or holding you back? Have you ever noticed how some thoughts just keep repeating in your mind, almost like background music? Sometimes that music is cheerful and encouraging, but often it is heavy and discouraging. Maybe you often hear yourself thinking things like, "What if I fail?" or "I should have done better." These repeated thought loops become so normal that we don't even question them. But here is the important truth. Those thoughts are not harmless. They guide your feelings, your energy, and your behavior every single day. If you wake up already worrying, your body feels tense, and your mood feels low, even before the day begins. But if you wake up thinking, "Today is a chance to learn," suddenly you feel lighter and you start your day with hope. Your thoughts are like invisible hands, pushing you either forward or backward. That's why understanding them matters. If you don't control your thoughts, they control you. The question is, are your thoughts helping you create the future you want, or are they keeping you stuck in the same place? What are your current thought patterns? Take a moment to notice the kinds of words and phrases that keep repeating in your mind. For many people, it is things like, "I can't," "I'm not ready," or "I always mess up." For others, it may be comparison thoughts like, "She is smarter than me," or "They are more successful." And for almost everyone, there are those quiet regrets, the should-haves and could-haves that sit in the background. These thoughts might seem small, but they are powerful. Imagine saying to yourself 100 times a day, "I'm not good enough." Over time, your brain accepts that as truth, and you begin acting as if it is real. You avoid challenges, you hide from chances, and slowly your life shrinks. On the other hand, if your repeating thought is, "I'm learning and improving every day," then even when you make mistakes, you still feel progress. Your energy is different, your actions are stronger, and your future begins to expand. Your daily thought patterns are not just noise. They are instructions, and those instructions are building the person you are becoming. How do your thoughts affect your energy? The way you think doesn't just stay in your head. It spreads into your whole body. Have you ever noticed how, after worrying for a while, your shoulders feel heavy, or your stomach feels tight. That is the physical effect of negative thoughts. Your body listens to your mind. If your inner voice is full of "I can't" or "this is too hard," your energy drops and everything feels like a bigger challenge. But if your thoughts are more hopeful, like "I'll give it a try," or "I'm learning something useful today," your body feels lighter. Suddenly, your steps are easier and you carry yourself differently. Your thoughts are like fuel. They can either drain your tank until you are empty, or they can fill you with fresh energy to move forward. This is why changing the quality of your thinking is not just about emotions. It's about the strength you bring into every single day. The connection is simple. Negative thoughts make you tired. Hopeful thoughts give you power. That's why mastering your thinking is the first step toward mastering your future. Why do we need a blueprint for the future? Think about how a house is built. Before a single brick is placed, the architect creates a detailed plan. Without that plan, the workers would not know where to start, and the building might collapse. Your life works the same way. If you do not create a plan, a blueprint, you might spend years just reacting to whatever happens, going in circles, repeating yesterday's habits. Many people live like this, waiting for success to knock on their door by chance. But success doesn't arrive by accident. It comes by design. A blueprint for your future is not about controlling everything. It's about giving yourself a clear picture of where you're going. It tells you what kind of person you want to become, what values you want to live by, and what habits will get you there. Without it, you drift. With it, you build. The truth is, your future self is a project. And just like a house, if you want it to be strong and beautiful, you must first design it carefully in your mind. Who is your future self? Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself 5 years from now. Who do you want to see standing there? How does this version of you think, act, and feel? Maybe your future self wakes up early, full of energy, excited about the day. Maybe they are confident at work, respected by others, and comfortable in their own skin. Or maybe they are calmer, kinder, and more present with family and friends. Whatever picture comes to your mind, let it be clear. Because when you define who your future self is, your choices today start to gain meaning. Suddenly, skipping a bad habit is not just about today. It's about staying true to that future version of you. Saying yes to an opportunity is not just about the present. It's about preparing for who you want to be. The clearer the image of your future self, the stronger your motivation will be to take steps that match it. Your future self is waiting for you. The question is, will you begin to shape them now? What does your ideal future feel like? When people think of success, they often focus on the outside picture, the job title, the money, the house, the travel. But if you look deeper, true success is about how you feel inside. So ask yourself, how does your future self feel? Maybe they feel calm in stressful situations, confident when speaking, or proud of the choices they make. Maybe they carry a sense of freedom, of balance, or of peace. These feelings are just as important as achievements because they guide your actions. For example, instead of saying only, "I want a better job," you could say, "I want to feel proud and creative in my work." That feeling gives your vision more power. It makes your goals more human and more motivating. After all, it's possible to achieve something and still feel empty if the feelings don't match. So don't just plan what your future looks like. Plan what it feels like. Because feelings are the fuel that will drive your journey, keeping you motivated even when the road is not easy. How do values shape your future? Sometimes we chase goals because society tells us they are important. More money, a bigger house, a certain job title. But here's the truth. If your goals don't match your values, they will not satisfy you. Values are the things that matter most to you deep inside. Maybe your top value is family. Maybe it's honesty. Maybe it's freedom, creativity, or growth. These values are like your inner compass. They show you the right direction even when the outside world is noisy. When you connect your future self to your values, your motivation becomes strong and sustainable. For example, if freedom is your value, then designing a career that allows flexibility will energize you. If family is your value, then success will feel empty unless it allows you to be present with them. A blueprint without values is like a house without a foundation. It might look fine for a while, but it will collapse. Building a future that lasts means making sure it grows from what truly matters to you. Can you interrupt negative thoughts? Everyone experiences negative thoughts. They appear suddenly, often without warning, and they feel true simply because they are familiar. I'm too late. I'm not smart enough. I always fail. These phrases are not facts. They are habits. They are like old songs your brain has learned to play on repeat. The powerful news is this: you can interrupt them. The first step is awareness. Notice when a negative thought shows up. Instead of letting it run endlessly, pause. Imagine pressing a stop button in your mind. The second step is choice. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me or hurting me? If it's hurting, pivot. Replace it with a new, more empowering idea, even if it feels small. For example, instead of, "I'll never get this right," try, "I'm still learning and I can improve." That change may seem small, but it has a big effect over time. Each time you pause and pivot, you are teaching your brain a new pattern. Little by little, those patterns grow stronger, and your future self becomes freer from the weight of automatic negativity. What is the as if mindset? One of the most powerful tools for shaping your future self is something called the as if mindset. This means living today as if you were already the person you want to become tomorrow. Imagine you want to be more confident. Instead of waiting until one magical day when confidence suddenly appears, ask, how would my confident self act right now? How would they walk? How would they speak? How would they make decisions? Then start practicing those actions in your daily life. At first, it feels a little strange, almost like pretending. But your brain doesn't see it as fake. It sees it as training. Over time, the as-if behaviors become real habits, and those habits begin to change your identity. Soon, you're no longer just acting as if. You are becoming that version of yourself. This works for any quality: patience, focus, strength, kindness. Living as if allows you to bring your future into the present, one action at a time. It's like rehearsing for the role of your best self until you fully step into it. Why is daily practice important? Dreams often stay as dreams because people don't bring them into daily life. You can read about success, you can imagine your future self, but without practice, nothing really changes. Think about exercise. Doing one workout is good, but it won't transform your body. The power comes from repetition, moving every day until it becomes part of you. Your thoughts work exactly the same way. To build your future self, you need daily practice. It doesn't have to be complicated. It could be a morning gratitude routine where you spend 2 minutes thinking of what you appreciate. It could be an evening reflection, asking yourself what you learned today. It could even be setting one clear intention before work, like, I will stay calm in meetings. Each small practice is like watering a plant. The more you water, the stronger it grows. The more you repeat, the more natural it becomes. Daily practice is not about being perfect every day. It's about showing up again and again until your new thought patterns take root and grow on their own. How do small habits create big results? Big transformations don't usually come from one giant leap. They come from small steps repeated again and again until the change becomes visible. Think of brushing your teeth. Doing it once doesn't really matter, but brushing every day keeps your teeth strong for a lifetime. The same rule applies to your thoughts and actions. If you choose one empowering thought every morning, like, I'm capable of learning, and you practice it daily, in time, it becomes your natural way of thinking. At first, you might not notice much, but after weeks or months, your confidence will be stronger, your decisions will be bolder, and your future will start looking brighter. This is why small habits are so powerful. They sneak past resistance. They are easy to repeat. And over time, they build a foundation for massive change. You don't need to change everything overnight. Choose one small thought, one small habit, and stick with it. Before you know it, you will look back and see just how much those small choices have transformed your life. What about roadblocks and old habits? Change is exciting at the beginning, but the road is never perfectly smooth. There will be days when old habits return, when negative thoughts slip back in, or when you feel tired and lose focus. This is normal. It does not mean you are failing. It means you are human. Think of driving a car. If you take a wrong turn, you don't stop the journey completely. You simply correct your direction and continue. Personal growth works the same way. When you notice yourself falling into an old pattern, don't get angry or ashamed. Instead, gently return to your blueprint. Remind yourself of your vision and get back on track. Every comeback is a victory. In fact, learning how to recover quickly is just as important as moving forward. Because success is not about never making mistakes. It's about learning, adjusting, and continuing despite them. So expect roadblocks. Expect old habits to knock on your door. And when they do, smile, correct your path, and keep building. Each correction makes your blueprint stronger and your future self more resilient. How do you stay consistent when motivation fades? Motivation is wonderful, but it's not reliable. It comes in waves. One day you feel unstoppable, and the next you feel tired and distracted. If you depend only on motivation, you will stop whenever the feeling disappears. That's why consistency must be built on something stronger: systems and routines. Systems are simple structures that remind you to act even when you don't feel like it. For example, setting an alarm for reflection, keeping a journal next to your bed, or joining a group where others encourage you. These systems carry you when your emotions are low. Think about brushing your teeth again. You don't need motivation for it because it has become routine. The same can happen with your thought practices. Once you build routines, they protect you from inconsistency. Over time, motivation will return, but you won't have lost progress. Consistency is not about being excited every day. It's about showing up no matter what. And when you combine consistency with vision, you create unstoppable momentum that brings your future self closer with each passing day. Why is your future self always evolving? When people create a vision for their future, they often think it must stay fixed forever. But the truth is, your future self will keep evolving as you grow. Who you want to be at 20 may not be the same at 40. Your values can shift. Your dreams can expand. And that is a good thing. A blueprint is not a cage. It's a living guide. Think of it like a garden. You plant seeds. They grow. And sometimes you decide to add new flowers or move things around. Updating your vision does not mean you failed. It means you are alive and learning. The most important thing is not holding a perfect plan, but staying connected to who you are becoming. Every season of life may ask you to redraw part of the picture. That's natural. A flexible blueprint keeps you excited and honest with yourself. Your journey is not about reaching one final version. It's about continually becoming the best version for the stage of life you are in right now. How does inner change affect your outer world? When you begin to shift your thoughts, it doesn't just stay inside of you. It shows up in your outer world too. People can feel your energy. If you are calmer inside, you will speak more gently and your relationships will feel smoother. If you are more confident, others will notice it in your body language, your eye contact, and your choices. Even opportunities respond to your inner world. For example, when you believe in your skills, you may apply for a job you once thought was impossible. That action creates a new result. When you think positively about growth, you learn faster and people trust you more. Inner change creates a ripple effect. It spreads into your work, your friendships, your family, and even strangers you meet. That's why designing your inner blueprint is not selfish. It benefits everyone around you. By improving your inner world, you raise the quality of your outer world. The future you imagine is not only a gift to yourself, it's also a gift to everyone whose life connects with yours. Why does one intentional thought matter? Sometimes you might doubt the power of small changes. You may think, what difference does one thought make? But even one thought can be the beginning of a completely new chapter. Imagine planting a seed. On the first day, it looks tiny and unimportant. But with water and sunlight, it grows into a tree that gives shade, fruit, and beauty. Thoughts work in the same way. A single intentional thought like, I am capable, can grow into a belief. That belief influences your mood. Your mood influences your behavior. Your behavior influences your results. And results influence your entire life direction. One thought is like a spark that can light a fire. That's why it's so important to start small and start now. Don't wait for everything to change at once. Begin with one thought that supports your vision. Plant it today. Repeat it tomorrow, and soon it will grow strong roots in your mind. From that one seed, your future self begins to grow. How can you measure your progress? Progress is not always easy to see. Sometimes you expect big, dramatic results right away. But real change often feels slow and invisible. That's why it's important to look for small signs. Notice if your mood is improving. Notice if you speak to yourself more kindly. Notice if you take one action you used to avoid. These are signs that your blueprint is working. You can also keep track by writing short notes in a journal. Write down your thoughts today, then look back in a month. You may be surprised at how much your perspective has shifted. Progress is not measured only by big victories, like a new job or a big achievement. It's measured by steady movement in the right direction. Even 1% better each week creates huge results over a year. So don't get discouraged if you don't see fireworks right away. Look for the quiet, gentle proof that you are changing. Those small steps are building your future self day by day, in ways you might not notice until later. What is the true reward of building your future self? When you create your future self blueprint, the reward is not only the achievements you gain on the outside, it's the transformation you build on the inside. Yes, reaching goals feels good. But the deeper reward is becoming the kind of person who can set goals, stay disciplined, and keep growing. That inner strength is something no one can take away from you. When you follow your blueprint, you don't just get success, you get self-respect. You realize you are capable of guiding your own life. You become more confident, more resilient, and more at peace with yourself. The true prize is not the car, the house, or the money. It's the knowledge that you can create, design, and shape your reality. That kind of inner growth lasts forever. It makes you strong in every season of life, no matter what challenges come. So yes, the external rewards will arrive. But the biggest gift of building your future self is the proud, powerful, alive version of you that grows along the way. Why start today? The best time to begin shaping your future is not tomorrow and not someday. It is today. Every day you wait is a day when old habits grow stronger. Every day you delay is a day when nothing changes. But every intentional thought you choose today is like laying a brick in the foundation of your future. You don't need to have everything figured out right now. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. Maybe it starts with one new habit, one simple reflection, or one empowering thought. Small beginnings create big futures. Remember, you are both the architect and the builder of your life. You are not waiting for someone else to design your success. You are designing it with each thought, each word, and each action you choose. So why start today? Because today is the only place where change is possible. Tomorrow is only a promise. Someday is only a dream. But today is real, and your future self is waiting for you to begin. Let me ask you something. What if the person you will be in 5 or 10 years is listening to you right now? What if they are quietly watching every choice you make, every thought you believe, and every habit you repeat? It can feel strange to imagine, but it is a powerful idea. Your future self is not a stranger. They are you, but wiser, calmer, and more experienced, So the big question is simple. Are you treating them with love and care, or are you making life harder for them? Many people think that self-improvement is about pressure, perfection, or forcing change. But what if the real path is softer? What if the real path is nurturing yourself from the inside, the same way you would take care of someone you love? What emotional gift are you leaving for your future self? If you think about your future self as a real person, what emotions will they receive from you? Will they receive peace, confidence, and gratitude? Or will they receive stress, exhaustion, and regret? Every day, small actions create emotional memories. When you rest, when you drink water, when you forgive yourself after a mistake, you are sending kindness forward. When you ignore your body, speak to yourself harshly, or delay everything until later, you are placing heavy bags on your future shoulders. Inner nurturing is not a dramatic change. It is a gentle shift. It begins with asking, what would make future me feel supported? Maybe it is going to sleep earlier because tomorrow's you needs energy. Maybe it is taking a deep breath before reacting in anger because the future you wants peace, not guilt. This way of thinking makes decisions easier. Instead of asking, what do I want right now? Try asking, what will help me later? When you start treating your future self with love, you become more patient, more caring, and more responsible. And slowly you become someone you can trust. Why do small choices matter so much? Many people believe only big decisions change life, but that is not true. The small choices you make every day are like seeds. They grow quietly. You cannot see results immediately, but one day you look back and realize how far they carried you. Drinking enough water, breathing slowly when you feel stressed, going for a 10-minute walk, turning off your phone to rest your mind. These are tiny actions, but they protect your future self. When you say, I only have 5 minutes, so I cannot start anything, you are thinking short term. But when you say, 5 minutes is enough to improve something, you are thinking with love. Even organizing one small corner of your room gives the future you a lighter space to think. Even learning one new English phrase gives the future you more confidence. Small actions teach your brain a new message. I care about myself. Every time you make a kind choice, it is like sending a small letter of love into the future. Your future self will open it and smile, feeling that someone was taking care of them long before they arrived. What would your future self ask for? Imagine your future self could speak to you today. What would they ask for? Maybe they would ask for better boundaries because they are tired of saying yes when they mean no. Maybe they would ask you to slow down because living in stress has become too heavy. Maybe they would ask you to stop comparing your life to others on social media. Sometimes the future self is simple. They ask for clean clothes waiting for them tomorrow. They ask for a glass of water. They ask for 5 quiet minutes to breathe. Inner nurturing means respecting those requests. It means saying, I do not have to fix everything, but I can make life easier for tomorrow. When your mind wants to quit, think about the version of you who will feel calmer if you continue just a little longer. When your heart feels tired, think about the future you, who will feel proud that you stayed gentle instead of angry. In every moment, you have the chance to be your own supporter. Instead of being your biggest critic, you can become your biggest friend, and friends help each other. Why is self-compassion a powerful tool? Many people think self-compassion means weakness, laziness, or excuses. But this idea is wrong. Self-compassion is strength because it allows you to keep moving without destroying yourself. When a person speaks to themselves with kindness, they recover faster from mistakes, stress, and disappointment. They learn more, they apologize more easily, and they try again. Harsh self-talk might push you for a short time, but it can slowly break your confidence. Kind self-talk supports you for a lifetime. Inner nurturing is understanding that you deserve care, even when you are not perfect. When you comfort yourself with gentle words, your future self receives the message that they are loved, not punished. Self-compassion creates emotional safety inside you. When you feel safe, you grow. When you feel judged, you freeze. So ask yourself, how would I speak to a friend in this situation? Then speak to yourself the same way. That is the beginning of a strong and loving future. Why is being kind to yourself not selfish? There is a common belief that being kind to yourself is selfish. But think carefully. When you feel rested, supported, and calm, you communicate better, you listen better, and you love better. Taking care of yourself is not avoiding responsibility. It is preparing yourself to handle life with grace. When you nurture your mind and body, you reduce future problems. You avoid burnout, emotional explosions, and mental tiredness. You protect your future relationships. You protect your health. You protect your dreams. A selfish person ignores consequences. A loving person builds a soft place to land, both for themselves and for others. So the next time you feel guilty for resting, remember this truth. You are not taking time away from others. You are giving your future self more energy to help, support, work, and love. Kindness to yourself is one of the greatest gifts you can give to the world. How does self-talk shape your future? If someone followed you around and repeated every sentence you say to yourself, would that person be kind? Or would they be cruel? Self-talk is powerful because your brain believes the words you repeat. If you say, I can't, your brain becomes smaller. If you say, I will try, your brain opens. If you say, I am stupid, the future you loses confidence. If you say, I am learning, the future you grow stronger. Negative self-talk builds fear. Positive self-talk builds courage. Inner nurturing begins by noticing the voice inside your mind. You do not have to be perfect or always positive, but you can be gentle. You can say, I made a mistake, but I can learn. You can say, today was hard, but tomorrow will be easier. You can say, I deserve to rest. The future you will feel supported because the past you was loving, not violent. Words are like seeds. Plant the ones that help you rise. How do small daily habits build a healthier future? Your future self will live inside the body and mind you are shaping today. This is why small, healthy habits matter so much. Drinking enough water gives your future self energy and clear thinking. Eating slowly helps your future self digest better and avoid stress eating. Taking a short walk relaxes your nervous system. Stretching your body tells your muscles that they are safe. Resting your eyes away from screens protects your future vision. None of these habits need perfect discipline. They only need small moments of care. Inner nurturing is not about forcing yourself to live like a superhero. It is about listening to your body and respecting its needs. When you do this, the future you wakes up feeling more alive, more comfortable, and more centered. A peaceful life is not created in one big moment. It is created in many tiny, loving choices. How can you invest in your future self? There are many ways to invest in your future self that have nothing to do with money. Learning a new skill gives your future self new opportunities. Reading a few pages every day gives your future self more knowledge. Practicing English for 10 minutes gives your future self stronger confidence. Every new skill is like a gift waiting to be opened one day. You do not need to learn everything at once. You can learn slowly, with patience. Growth is not a race. It is a gentle climb. When you say, I am too old to learn, or I am too tired to try, the future you loses possibilities. But when you say, I will take a small step, your future opens. One lesson today becomes wisdom tomorrow. One new idea today becomes strength later. When you invest in yourself, you are planting the roots of a beautiful life. Why does decluttering your mind and space matter? A crowded room creates a crowded mind. When your environment is messy, loud, or full of unfinished tasks, your future self inherits stress. Decluttering is not only about cleaning, it is about creating space for breathing, thinking, and resting. Even a small change helps. Organizing your desk gives tomorrow a calmer beginning. Washing a few dishes gives tomorrow a lighter heart. Removing old objects gives tomorrow more space to create new memories. Your mind also needs decluttering. Writing worries on paper clears your thoughts. Taking a quiet moment away from noise resets your emotions. Unfollowing negative social media accounts protects your peace. When you create space, your future self can focus, breathe, and think clearly. A peaceful space is a loving gift that lasts. How can you prepare emotional support for difficult days? Life will not always be easy. Some days will feel heavy, confusing, or painful. But inner nurturing means preparing emotional support before those days arrive. You can create simple tools. Breathing slowly for 1 minute tells your brain that you are safe. Speaking kindly to yourself reduces panic. Taking a warm shower relaxes your body. Listening to calm music softens your heart. When you practice these habits on good days, your future self can use them on hard days. Emotional preparation is like having a small first aid kit inside your mind. When life hurts, you know how to take care of yourself. You do not fall apart. You bend gently and then stand again. That is resilience. Why is forgiveness a gift for your future self? Holding anger, shame, or guilt is heavy. It takes away energy and joy. When you forgive yourself for mistakes, you free your future self from carrying an old weight. Forgiveness does not mean you are weak. It means you are done hurting yourself. When you forgive others, you break the chain of pain. You stop bringing past suffering into the future. Forgiveness creates space for peace. It gives your heart room to breathe. Your future self deserves that peace. They deserve a life that is not controlled by old stories. When you let go, you are not changing the past. You are changing the future. And your future self will be grateful. How does vulnerability make you stronger in the future? Many people try to hide their feelings because they want to appear strong. But real strength is not hiding. Real strength is facing your emotions with honesty. When you allow yourself to feel sadness, disappointment, or fear, those emotions move through you instead of staying trapped. Speaking your truth, asking for help, and admitting when you are tired are not signs of weakness. They are signs of courage. The future you become stronger because you learned how to handle emotions, not avoid them. Vulnerability also creates deeper connections. When you show your true self, the right people can support you. Inner nurturing means letting yourself be human. Your future self will thank you for the emotional freedom. How can you visualize a thriving future self? Take a moment and imagine your future self living a peaceful, confident life. Imagine waking up with energy, speaking to yourself with kindness, and feeling proud of the choices you made. Visualization is not magic, but it is powerful. When you picture a better version of yourself, your brain starts to believe it is possible. You begin to act differently. You sleep earlier. You drink water. You forgive faster. You speak more gently. You learn with curiosity. You create small routines that help you grow. The future you is not a dream. They are a direction. Every kind decision is one step closer. You do not have to be perfect. You only have to continue moving with love. How can you start loving your future self today? The answer is simple. Start with one small act of kindness. Drink a glass of water. Rest your eyes. Speak to yourself gently. Clean one small space. Learn one new word. Go to bed a little earlier. These actions are not dramatic, but they are powerful. They are small whispers of love whispered into tomorrow. Your future self will receive them like gifts. They will feel supported, safe, and cared for. You are building a foundation of peace, one tiny moment at a time. And when the future arrives, you will know that you created it with compassion. So begin today. Treat your future self the way you would treat someone you love, because that person is you, and you deserve it. Have you ever felt like you're trying to improve your life, but everything stays the same? You wake up each day thinking, I want to change, but somehow nothing really moves. You wait for motivation, for clarity, or for that perfect moment when everything feels right. But the truth is, that moment rarely comes. Why do we wait for the right time? Have you noticed how often people say, I'll start tomorrow? It sounds harmless, but tomorrow often turns into next week, next month, or never. We tell ourselves we're waiting for the right time, the right feeling, or the perfect opportunity. But deep down, we know the truth. There is no perfect time. Life will always be busy. You'll always feel a little unsure. Waiting for motivation before you act is like waiting for the sun on a cloudy day. Sometimes you just have to step into the light you already have. Motivation doesn't start the process. Action does. The moment you begin, your energy shifts. Even 5 minutes of doing something you've been avoiding can change how you feel about yourself. You start to believe, I can do this. That small confidence builds momentum. The right time isn't out there somewhere. It's now. In this moment, when you choose to begin, even without perfect conditions. Don't wait to feel ready. Readiness comes after you take the first step, not before it. What makes small actions so powerful? It's easy to underestimate small actions. Listening to one English podcast, reading a short article, or practicing for just 5 minutes might not seem like much, but small actions hold enormous power. They are easy to repeat, and that's what makes them strong. Think about water dripping on a rock. A single drop seems weak, but over time, it shapes stone. The same happens in your life. Each small, repeated action shapes your habits, your mindset, and your results. Small actions work because they don't scare your brain. Big goals can feel overwhelming, but small steps feel possible. And when something feels possible, you actually do it. Those little wins create trust within yourself. You start to see evidence that you can change. Slowly, day by day, you build a rhythm. That rhythm turns into progress. The secret of real growth isn't speed, it's consistency. Small, simple actions done with heart and honesty create results that last. Why isn't hope enough? Hope is beautiful. It gives us comfort when life feels heavy. But hope alone doesn't create change. You can hope to speak English confidently, to have a better job, or to feel happier. But without action, hope is just a dream. Habits turn hope into something real. The difference between I wish and I will is small, but it changes everything. You don't need to feel inspired every single day. You just need to show up. Even when you're tired, even when it feels boring, doing something small still moves you forward. Hope is the seed, but habit is the water that helps it grow. When you build a daily routine, even if it's short, you tell your brain, this matters. Over time, that quiet effort transforms your entire identity. So don't rely only on hope. Let your actions speak for you. Real change begins when hope turns into habit. Why do we fear small beginnings? Many people are afraid to start small. They want to begin with something impressive, a big project, a perfect plan, or a dramatic change. But that pressure often kills motivation before it even starts. We think, if I can't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all. But that mindset stops you from ever starting. Every expert was once a beginner. Every confident speaker once struggled to say a few words. Small beginnings are not a weakness. They are a gift. They give you space to learn without pressure. They allow you to experiment, to grow, to make mistakes safely. Think of your first step not as too small, but as exactly enough. You don't need to be ready to start big. You just need to begin. When you take small, steady steps, you build strength quietly. The key is not speed or size, it's consistency. Remember, the courage to start small is what leads to something great. What happens when we avoid change? When we avoid change, life doesn't stay peaceful. It becomes heavier. Days start to blend together. You feel stuck, frustrated, or disconnected from yourself. It's not because you're lazy, it's because staying the same feels safe. Even when we're unhappy, comfort can be tempting, but growth never happens inside comfort. The longer you wait, the more your dreams begin to fade into the background. Avoiding change doesn't protect you. It slowly steals your energy and joy. But here's the good news. The moment you do one small thing differently, the feeling of stuck starts to disappear. Change doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be gentle. Maybe you study for 5 minutes longer. Maybe you speak one new English sentence out loud. Those moments tell your mind, I can move again. Each small shift reminds you that you are capable of creating your own momentum. You don't have to change everything, just something. How can you build a habit that lasts? The secret to building a habit that lasts isn't intensity, it's simplicity. Choose something so small that you can't say no. If you want to learn English, start by listening for 5 minutes each day. If you want to read more, open one page. When your goal feels easy, your brain doesn't resist. You take action naturally. Once you finish that small action, your brain feels rewarded. It says, that felt good, let's do it again. Over time, this creates a loop of success. You start to rely less on willpower and more on rhythm. The habit becomes automatic, like brushing your teeth. But remember, habits grow stronger when they're supported by kindness, not pressure. If you miss a day, don't punish yourself. Just start again. Habits built with patience last longer because they're rooted in love, not fear. So start small, stay kind, and let repetition do the magic. What role does self-compassion play? Self-compassion is often the missing piece in change. Many people believe they need to be strict with themselves to stay motivated, but harshness doesn't build consistency. Kindness does. When you fail, criticize yourself, or skip a day. You might think you've lost progress, but failure isn't falling. It's refusing to get up. Self-compassion allows you to keep going. It says, I'm still learning. It's okay to start again. Growth isn't a straight line. It's full of stops and starts. When you forgive yourself, you remove fear from the process. You make room for curiosity and courage. So if you didn't practice today, don't give up. Just begin again tomorrow. Treat yourself like a friend who's trying their best. That gentle, patient energy is what makes long-term change possible. Progress made with kindness stays with you. Why do we think change must feel dramatic? We often imagine change as something big, like a movie moment. We picture sudden transformation, a new job, a new life, a new self. But that's not how real growth works. Real change is quiet. It's the daily act of doing things differently. It's choosing progress over perfection. You won't always notice the change while it's happening. It's slow, steady, and sometimes invisible. But that doesn't mean it's not working. Like seasons, your growth happens beneath the surface. You don't need fireworks to prove it. You just need consistency. When you stop looking for big emotions and start trusting small actions, you'll find peace in your progress. One day, You'll look back and realize how far you've come. Not because of one big moment, but because you never stopped showing up. That's what real change feels like. Quiet confidence. How can we overcome the feeling of being stuck? Feeling stuck can be frustrating. You want to move, but it feels like something invisible is holding you back. The more you think about it, the heavier it becomes. The best way to break that feeling isn't thinking harder. It's moving, even just a little. Action breaks the mental wall. You don't have to know every step. Just take one small one. Read a page. Learn a word. Go for a short walk. The moment you act, your energy shifts. You feel alive again. Stuckness is often not a lack of ability. It's a lack of movement. You don't need to wait for motivation. You need to create it through action. Every small step brings clarity, and with clarity comes confidence. So when you feel trapped in your routine, remember this: motion creates emotion. Start where you are. Do what you can. That's how you move forward. Why is patience essential for real progress? In our fast-paced world, patience feels rare. We want results instantly. Quick success, quick learning, quick happiness. But true growth takes time. Think of a tree. You don't see its roots, but they're growing deep, strong, and silent before you ever see the leaves. Your progress works the same way. The results you want, better English, better focus, more confidence, are being built quietly while you practice. If you rush, you'll lose your balance. Patience means trusting that your effort is working, even when you can't see proof yet. Every small step matters, even if it feels slow. So when you feel impatient, take a breath. Remind yourself that consistency is more powerful than speed. You're not behind. You're building something strong, and strong things take time. What if I fail again? You probably will. And that's perfectly fine. Failure is not the end. It's part of the journey. Every time you fall, you learn something about yourself. Failure isn't a sign that you can't do it. It's proof that you're trying. The only real failure is giving up completely. When something doesn't work, don't say, "I failed." Say, "I learned." Adjust, try again, and move forward. The most successful people you know didn't avoid mistakes. They learned from them. Think of failure as feedback, not judgment. It's your teacher, not your enemy. And every time you try again, you come back a little stronger, a little wiser, and a little more patient. You can fall 7 times and still rise 8. That's how real growth looks. Imperfect, but unstoppable. How can English learning teach you about life? Learning English isn't only about words or grammar. It's about discipline, courage, and patience. Every time you practice, you're training your mind to stay focused, to keep trying, to not give up. You're teaching yourself that progress doesn't come from perfection, but from showing up. Think about it. When you study, you practice listening even when you don't understand everything. That builds patience. When you speak and make mistakes, you learn courage. When you keep going day after day, you build confidence. English is more than a skill. It's a mirror of how you live your life. It teaches you that change takes time, that small actions matter, and that every effort counts. So when you practice English, remember, you're not just learning a language, you're learning how to grow. What does real progress feel like? Real progress doesn't always feel exciting. It often feels ordinary. Some days it's slow, other days it's quiet. But that's exactly what makes it real. Progress isn't a rush of motivation. It's the calm of knowing you're doing what matters, even when it's not easy. Real progress feels like peace. It's when you stop comparing yourself to others and start respecting your own journey. You no longer need to prove anything. You just trust yourself to keep going. That feeling of quiet strength is one of life's most beautiful rewards. So don't worry if you can't see dramatic change yet. You're not standing still. You're growing roots. And one day, those roots will show in your words, in your confidence, and in your calm belief that you are becoming who you want to be. What's the one truth to remember? Nothing changes if nothing changes. It's simple, but it carries the power to transform your life. You don't need a perfect plan or endless motivation. You just need to begin today in the smallest way possible. Every time you take a small step, you tell yourself, I am in charge of my growth. That single decision changes your story. It doesn't matter how slowly you move. What matters is that you don't stop. The strength you're looking for isn't out there. It's already inside you, waiting for action to wake it up. So don't wait for the right time. Don't wait to feel ready. Just take one step, one honest, small, real step, and watch how your life begins to shift. Change doesn't start tomorrow. It begins now with you. Imagine this. The alarm rings. You open your eyes. It's another morning in the same room, the same bed, the same routine. But deep down, something feels off. You're busy, yet you're not really moving forward. You know there's more you could be doing, more you should be doing. Yet somehow the days keep slipping through your fingers. Now, picture the same alarm, the same soft morning light. But this time you rise with a quiet fire in your chest. You already know exactly where you're going and how you'll get there. Every action you take today will matter. Every moment will push you forward. The difference between these two mornings isn't luck, and it isn't talent. It's the way you've built your plan for growth. So let me ask you, what if you became truly obsessed with your own growth? Imagine waking up pulled by a deep sense of purpose, not just dragged from bed by an alarm. That kind of obsession, when directed toward the right things, can transform your life and your English. No one is coming to rescue you. That might sound scary, but it's actually your greatest strength. When you accept that your future is fully in your hands, you stop waiting and you start acting. Why is motivation alone never enough? Many people wait until they feel ready before they start something new. They believe they need motivation first. That burst of energy that makes action easy. But motivation is unreliable. It's like the weather. Sometimes sunny, sometimes stormy, and never under your control. If you build your plan on motivation alone, you'll stop the moment it disappears. That's why so many learners begin studying English with excitement but quit after a few weeks. The key is to create systems, simple, repeatable habits that keep you moving even on days when you don't feel like it. For example, setting a fixed study time every day removes the question, "Should I study?" and replaces it with, "It's time to study." Systems protect your progress from your mood. When you shift your focus from, "Do I feel motivated?" to, "What's my next step?" you move from being controlled by feelings to being guided by discipline. And discipline, that's the real engine of growth. Why does obsession beat talent every time? We often admire people who seem naturally gifted. The fluent speaker, the quick learner, the one who appears to succeed without much effort. But here's the truth. Talent without hard work is like a car without fuel. It goes nowhere. Obsession, however, is different. Obsession keeps you practicing, learning, and improving even when it's boring or uncomfortable. If you are obsessed with improving your English, you will keep listening to podcasts, reading articles, speaking with others, and learning new words, even when progress feels slow. Over time, that dedication turns into mastery. The world doesn't just reward talent. It rewards those who stay in the game the longest. Think of it this way. A talented person who gives up will be passed by a less talented person who refuses to stop. Obsession pushes you through the moments when others quit. And in the end, consistent obsession will beat raw talent every single time. Why is waiting for someone to save you dangerous? It's easy to hope that someone else will open the right door for you. A teacher, a mentor, a lucky break. Maybe you think a perfect course will solve everything, or that someone will notice your potential and offer you success. But waiting is dangerous. Every day you wait, you give away your power and lose time you could be using to grow. No one can live your life for you. Even the best teacher can guide you, but they cannot walk the path for you. When you take full responsibility for your own growth, you stop blaming circumstances or other people for your lack of progress. You start asking, what can I do right now to move forward? This mindset change is powerful because the person who takes ownership of their growth never stays stuck for long. You don't have to wait for permission. You can start building your skills, your habits, and your future today. How do small wins create unstoppable momentum? Big transformations don't happen all at once. They are built from many small wins, stacked together over time. Learning 5 new words a day, reading 1 page of a book, listening to a short podcast episode. These may seem small, but they are the bricks that build your future. Every small win creates a feeling of progress, and that progress fuels your motivation to keep going. Soon you'll have a chain of successes behind you, and breaking that chain will feel harder than continuing. This is how momentum works. Once it starts, it becomes easier to keep it moving. Many people wait for one big moment of change, but lasting transformation comes from daily actions, repeated consistently. When you celebrate small wins, you teach your brain to enjoy the process. Over time, these little victories add up to something extraordinary. And the best part is, the process becomes a natural part of your life. Why is discipline more important than desire? Desire is that exciting burst you feel when you decide to start something new. You want to improve, you're inspired, you can't wait to begin. But desire doesn't last. After a week or two, the excitement fades and real life feels heavier. This is where discipline becomes the hero. Discipline means you keep going whether you feel like it or not. It means you study your English at your set time, even when you're tired. It means you follow your workout plan even when it's raining outside. Discipline is built by making promises to yourself and keeping them. Over time, it becomes a habit and then a part of your identity. You no longer have to fight yourself to take action because discipline has become who you are. This is why discipline is more powerful than desire. Desire might start the journey, but discipline makes sure you finish it. Why is consistency the silent force of transformation? When people see a big success, they often think something dramatic happened overnight. But real change is almost always the result of boring, consistent action. Just like water can slowly shape a stone, small daily actions can transform your life over time. The challenge is that consistency feels slow. You don't always see results right away, and that can make you want to quit. But if you stick with it, you'll realize that the slow pace is an illusion. Because one day, your progress will suddenly be obvious to everyone. The key is to focus on the process, not the speed, Consistency turns effort into results and results into confidence. The most powerful thing you can do for your growth is to keep showing up day after day, even when no one is watching. That's when transformation happens quietly but powerfully. Why should you only compete with who you were yesterday? It's natural to compare yourself to others. You see someone who speaks English more fluently, learns faster, or achieves their goals sooner, and you feel behind. But comparison steals your focus and your joy. The only person worth competing with is the person you were yesterday. Ask yourself, am I better than I was before? If the answer is yes, you're winning. If not, it's time to adjust your actions. This kind of personal competition is healthy because it keeps the focus on what you can control: your own habits, learning, and progress. It also removes unnecessary pressure because your growth becomes personal and meaningful, not a race against strangers. Every day you improve, even by 1%, you are building a future self that is stronger, smarter, and more capable than before. And that's a race you can win every single day. How can you design your environment for success? Your environment shapes your habits more than you might think. If your workspace is messy, your phone is full of notifications, and your TV is always on, staying focused becomes much harder. But when you design your environment to match your goals, you make success easier. This could mean keeping your desk clean, having your English materials ready, or placing your phone in another room while you work. It could mean surrounding yourself with people who inspire and support you rather than those who distract or discourage you. Small environmental changes can have a huge impact on your behavior. If your surroundings make the right choice easy and the wrong choice harder, you'll naturally move toward your goals without as much effort. In short, don't just rely on willpower. Build an environment that pulls you forward. How does learning every day create compounding results? Imagine you put $1 into a jar every day. At first it looks like nothing, but over months, then years, the amount grows bigger and bigger. This is the compounding effect. Small actions adding up over time. Learning works in exactly the same way. If you spend even 10 minutes a day listening to English, reading a page of a book, or writing a short paragraph, it might feel small in the moment. But as days turn into months, your vocabulary grows, your listening improves, and your confidence increases. The results start slowly, but they build faster the longer you keep going. The magic of compounding is that you don't just get better, you get better at getting better. Each new skill makes the next skill easier to learn. Many people fail because they stop too soon. But if you keep investing in your growth every single day, the results will eventually surprise you and everyone else. How do you feed the fire of growth every day? Obsession is like a fire. If you stop feeding it, it will slowly burn out. To keep your growth alive, you need to give it constant fuel. New challenges, inspiring input, and regular reflection. This could mean listening to a different English podcast, reading a book outside your comfort zone, or setting a slightly bigger goal than last week. It might mean practicing with someone new or trying to write about a more complex topic. The key is to keep stretching yourself just enough to feel challenged without overwhelming yourself. Growth dies when life becomes too comfortable, but when you constantly give yourself something to aim for, you keep the fire strong. You also need to reflect, to look back at what you've done, see where you've improved, and decide what your next step should be. With the right fuel, your growth will never run cold. Why does action matter more than planning? Planning feels safe. You can make lists, set goals, and imagine the perfect result. But nothing changes until you act. Many people get stuck in preparation mode. They think they're working because they're organizing, but they're really avoiding the uncomfortable part, starting. The truth is, you will never feel completely ready. You will always wish you had more time, more skill, or more information. But action teaches you faster than planning ever can. When you take action, you make mistakes, learn from them, and improve. That learning process is something no plan can replace. Of course, planning has value. It gives direction. But action is the engine that moves you forward. A small imperfect step today is worth more than a perfect plan you never use. So if you've been waiting for the right moment, stop waiting. The right moment is when you take the first step. How should you handle setbacks on your journey? No matter how motivated or disciplined you are, setbacks will come. You'll miss study days, forget new words, or feel stuck. The difference between people who succeed and those who quit is how they respond when things go wrong. If you see setbacks as proof you can't succeed, you'll stop. But if you see them as lessons, you'll grow stronger. Each setback shows you something. Maybe your schedule needs adjusting. Maybe your method isn't working, or maybe you need more rest. Instead of saying, "I failed," say, "I learned." Growth is not a straight line. It's a zigzag path with mistakes and corrections. The key is to keep moving forward after each fall, even if it's a small step. Over time, you'll realize that every difficulty you faced was training you for the next stage of your growth. Why is patience a powerful tool for growth? We live in a fast world. We expect quick results, instant answers, and rapid progress. But real growth works differently. You can't force a plant to grow faster by shouting at it, and you can't rush your own development without losing quality. Patience isn't just waiting. It's trusting the process while you keep doing the work. When you're patient, You stop judging yourself too quickly and start focusing on consistency. You understand that every small action is adding up, even if you can't see the results yet. Without patience, you'll quit before your work has a chance to pay off. With patience, you'll stay in the game long enough to see the rewards. Remember, growth is a long-term investment. If you're patient, your results will be deeper, stronger, and more permanent. How does clarity give you more power? If you don't know exactly what you want, it's hard to move toward it with strength. Vague goals like, I want to be better at English, are too general. They don't give your brain a clear target. Clarity means saying something specific. I want to understand 80% of a podcast without subtitles. Or, I want to have a 10-minute conversation without long pauses. Clear goals help you focus your effort and measure your progress. They also make your daily choices easier. You can ask, does this action take me closer to my goal? When you have clarity, your energy becomes sharper. You waste less time on activities that don't matter, and you know exactly why you're doing what you're doing. In the end, clarity is like a map. Without it, you're wandering. With it, you're on the fastest path to your destination. Why is your comfort zone holding you back? Comfort feels good. It's safe, familiar, and easy. But comfort zones are like soft prisons. You don't notice the walls until you try to leave. Growth only happens when you step into discomfort. That could mean speaking English with strangers, trying more difficult reading material, or waking up earlier to study. At first, discomfort feels scary, but each time you push through it, you expand your comfort zone. Soon, what once felt impossible becomes normal. The problem is, many people stay in comfort because they fear failure or embarrassment. But comfort slowly takes away your energy and ambition. Discomfort, on the other hand, builds confidence and skill. Every time you choose challenge over comfort, you choose growth over staying the same. How can obsession be sustainable without burnout? Obsession doesn't mean pushing yourself until you collapse. If you work without rest, your mind and body will eventually fight back. Sustainable obsession means knowing how to balance intensity with recovery. Think of it like training for a marathon. You have hard runs, but you also have rest days to rebuild your strength. In learning or personal growth, this could mean alternating between intense focus sessions and lighter review days. It could mean getting enough sleep, eating well, and taking breaks before you're exhausted. Burnout happens when you ignore these needs. Sustainable obsession is about keeping the fire burning for years, not just weeks. That way, you can stay passionate and committed without destroying your energy. Why should you celebrate your progress? When you're obsessed with growth, you can become so focused on the next goal that you forget how far you've come. You finish one task and immediately move to the next without stopping to feel proud. But celebrating progress is essential for motivation. It reminds you that your effort is working and that you are moving forward. This celebration doesn't have to be big. It could be writing down what you've achieved, telling a friend, or just pausing to enjoy the feeling. When you recognize your wins, even small ones, you create positive energy that fuels your next step. Without celebration, the journey can feel like endless work. With it, the process becomes rewarding, and you stay motivated for the long term. How do you keep going when no one notices? At the start, your efforts might be invisible to others. You'll study, practice, and improve in ways only you can see. This can feel lonely, especially if you're hoping for encouragement or recognition. But this stage is important. It proves that you're doing the work for yourself, not just for praise. The best results often come after long periods when it seems like nothing is changing. Then suddenly your skills show up in a conversation, a test, or a challenge, and people are surprised at your ability. The key is to trust the process and keep going even when no one is watching. Because the truth is, the results will show. And when they do, they'll speak louder than any early recognition. What freedom comes from taking full ownership of your life? When you stop waiting for someone to save you and stop blaming the world for your situation, you take full ownership of your growth. And with ownership comes freedom. You realize that you are the one who decides how far you go. You no longer wait for permission or perfect conditions. You create your own opportunities. This isn't just about learning English or building a career or getting fit. It's about every area of your life. When you understand that no one is coming to rescue you, you stop feeling powerless. You start feeling responsible, capable, and ready. The person who will change your life is you. That's the truth, and it's your greatest advantage.